Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys coming back. On this video, I wanted to show you guys how I fixed my fantastic fan. My fantastic fan stopped working, so I went through the trial of elimination, process of elimination, and so I started with my fuse panel. Everything was good on the fuse panel. I went with tracing the wires back from there to this section here. So I had to cut those wires. Right now there's wire nuts on there. But I was getting power all the way to that spot. So then the next spot was taking the fan apart. So yeah, so that's pretty much what this video is about, taking this fan apart. And what I did, I found out where the problem was. There's a button up at the top of the fan. When you lift up the vent on the top, the hood itself, it releases this button that completes the circuit of the power. So I know that's kind of confusing to some people, but when you lift it up, you lift it manually with this, and when you lift it up like that, it releases a button. Well, that was the issue. So that was the problem. So what I did was I bypassed that whole button. Instead of ordering a button for that, I just went ahead and cut that out completely and rewired it so it's got a full circuit automatically. So basically what I did was I just bypassed that whole button up there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a toggle switch further down the line, somewhere down there. So I'm going to put a toggle switch down there somewhere. So like I said, this is a button here. So I needed I believe it was a 7/16 wrench. So now, after loosening the nut, I pulled the push button out of the hole that it was sitting in. And as you can see, the wire goes to the end of the push button, and then the other part of the wire that comes from the motor, from the fan, goes to the other fitting. And that fitting is supposed to touch on the bottom of that nut, and that's which was the issue. So now I'm gonna cut these wires and take out the push button. It's kind of a tight fit in there, you know, as far as that's concerned, even though the vent is open, but it's still kind of tight in there. But basically, you just cut the wire on each end of the push button, and then you wire those two together, and you're basically completing the circuit and just cutting out that push button. So this is the push button. As you can see, it's got a down at the bottom of it is where the one wire connected to, and then this part here, this little fitting, that's where the other part of the wire went. So it's really not that hard, guys. I just cut that off there and cut it off at the bottom of the push button, and for some reason this push button broke. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if the fan got pushed down or if it just ran ran its course of time and just wore out, you know. So but then after that, man, there's, I believe, 6 or 7 screws on the inside. So you have to take the inside part of the fan down to stretch those wires or reach those wires on the inside. But it's really not that hard. And like I said, there's 6 screws if you count the big screw for this thing here, that basically opens and closes the vent. So I've never done this before. I've never taken this apart, but it's not that hard as far as that's concerned. But I just wanted to put an extension on the wire because it wasn't long enough. It was too short, and I didn't want to fight with it up top. So this is the positive wire here, and it's just, you know, I left that alone. It does disconnect and connect again with a fitting, so I just left that one alone, which was cool. Didn't have to mess with that. But like I said, it's really not that hard, man. It's just a few screws. Then you disconnect that red wire right there with a fitting. This is what the inside of the fan looks like, where the motor and all that stuff. And you can see this wire here is the one that I have to add another piece of wire to, so it's a little bit longer. So that's pretty much what I was doing on this part here. Now granted, I went a little overboard. I put the wire that's on there is a little too long, but it's no big deal. So, but I just tucked it in up top, and gonna go from there. But this here is, you know, when you're working by yourself, you gotta make do, you know. So I use my pillows and stuff to hold up the fan on that part. But yeah, it was pretty cool. This here is just where I connected it, and then I taped it. So these wires here, there it is. You know, it's just that simple. Bypass that push button, connect those 2 wires together, and use a wire connector, and then crimp it down and then tape it. I'm probably going to tape it to the wall. All right, now for the test. I didn't screw in the screws all the way, just because obviously I'm not done, so I just wanted to check and make sure everything was going to work. I might have to trim that wire up top because yeah, it's a little long. So, but all right, here we go. Testing. Awesome. All right, guys, so everything's back together. I decided not to do the toggle switch today. I'm going to do that later, but everything is hooked up. It's ready to go. It works. Everything's fine. I'm going to do the exact same thing to this, my other fan, that I did to this fan. And I'm going to put a toggle switch on that as well. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put the toggle switches. I'm probably going to put them up here in the front where my battery bank is, but I mean, I can do that later. The only thing is since this is connected live, I just have to make sure that when I close the vent, I turn the actual power off. So what I mean by that is this thing right here. So open this, Turn this on. So now the main thing is if I was to shut this, the power would still be on. It would probably burn up the motor. So I don't want to burn up the motor, so I have to make sure I just have to make sure I turn it off before I shut it. Just have to make sure I turn it off before I shut the vent. And then probably when I do the same thing to my other fan is when I'm gonna actually hook up my toggle switches. But I want to put them probably like here somewhere. This is the one toggle switch that I got. So that's a project. That's a project that I'll probably do when I rewire the vent in the back, because I'm going to do the same thing to that one. So other than that, man, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Stay safe out there, man. This coronavirus. But until the next video, man, stay safe. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Drive safe.